Well, at the halfway mark, things were looking far different for Punjab, but that's not how the cookie has crumbled in the end. Hyderabad's 201 was just way too much for Punjab. Show you the match summary and what has happened. Hyderabad had won the toss, decided to bat first. They got to a mammoth 201, and in the end, Punjab falling short by a lot. I've got Michael Vaughan and Harsha Bhogle here with me. Vaughanie, I mean, it's just fair to say they just fell short by a lot.
Yeah, you don't chase over 200 with just one player. Puran was outstanding. Still trying to work out what they were trying to do with that last over of Rashid Khan.
Yeah,
I watch T20 cricket a lot, and I think sometimes they're overcomplicating life. You know, whether it's tactically, batting orders. Now Puran decides that he's just going to. What's the point hitting Rashid Khan for no runs and just kind of blocking out 6 balls when you're chasing such a big total? Just after the strategic timeout, so more kind of chefs in the kitchen giving him ideas. See out Rashid Khan. I honestly think they overcomplicate life. It's not been a great day for the Kings. It hasn't surprised me. I don't think they're a great team. I think they've got good individuals, but I don't think they're a great team. And I think the Sunrise has produced the kind of performances that we've seen from them for the last few years. When they play like they've done tonight with that partnership at the top, Rashid Khan is delivering his magic. They're a very, very difficult team to beat.
Harsha, that's a big loss. That's got to hurt. It's 69. It's the biggest loss of the tournament, isn't it? We've seen a few 50s. I think 69 is the biggest batting second.
I mean, there was an anomaly about the Kings in that they were bottom of the table with one of the best net run rates because of that performance when they made that 200 and beat, I think, was it RCB? Or they beat very easily.
Yep.
They've lost that too now. They've gone into minus on their net run rate. That's how big this defeat was. But look at that. It's a strange side. You know, I was sitting up there. I was on the Cricbuzz app, and I suddenly saw I'd missed the action for a while. I saw Mujib coming out to bat. I thought they'd lost 9 wickets.
He's coming at 7.
Mujib came out to bat at 7.
Yep.
I mean, only time Mujib would bat 7 is in his family team if he's picking the batting order.
Yep. Yeah.
Can I bring one thing for both of your attention? For me, when someone walks out to bat and takes guard, and they don't have any stickers on their bat, so they don't have a sponsor willing to give them any kind of free kit or any kind of monetary rewards for using that. Mujib doesn't have any stickers on his bat. That's an indication that he cannot bat at number 7.
Yeah. Michael Vaughan, so materialistic. Look at you.
I know. You gotta have stickers on your bat.
You're right. You're right.
Disrespect to him. No disrespect to Mujib. Great if he can bat at 7 and do something. But also it needs to, on the review, he was out and he reviewed that.
Okay, first of all, I have no idea what has happened in those 3 minutes, except me looking at it going, hang on, this is just going to become the longest game ever. That was before Punjab decided to self-combust. You just thought that this would just be the longest game and things like this. I don't know what Warner did at that point in time. Did he very cleverly save a review and still make the umpire review it? And then after that, Mujib was walking off, and then somebody told him to review the review, and then he reviewed the non-review, and it became a review which they lost. Point in time. Can anybody tell me?
I'll tell you what happened there. You were so lost in your reviews that we lost you for about 2 seconds.
I'm telling you, the internet also lost its mind, just like I did watching that.
You know, the funniest thing you'll see, I mean, the umpires are checking to see if it was an edge or a bum ball. The umpire said it was a bum ball, so they said, okay, you're out, and he reviewed that because he's seen it on the big screen. I didn't understand that.
Yeah,
Michael's laughing his head off. Michael, maybe you want to tell us.
I just think it sums up the Kings. They've got no idea. They don't know what to review, what's out, what's not. It's just the way Kings are going at the minute. They've not got much out. And someone in that dressing room has pushed him back out there to review it, and Mujib then gave himself out once he'd reviewed it.
I just don't know what happened at that point in time. But yes, I mean, we have come on air far earlier than I expected, because while Puran was there, you were expecting him to make a match of it. But with 200 on the board, if he's going to get no help at all, then it is going to be a problem. And he's never going to get them. I mean, look at it. They've got 132, out of which he's got more than half the runs. So it's around half the runs is what he has ended up getting. And just no support. Vaughanie, nobody. He needed one guy, right? One guy with him.
Well, Maxwell was the guy. I mean, full credit to David Warner's team because they were electric in the field. They got that early run out. David Warner himself, and the run out of Glenn Maxwell, that was special. To throw down the stumps square on. You don't see one wicket hit that often these days, even though you've got wonderful fielders. It's not a skill that we see that often. Glenn Maxwell is going through one of those spells that it's not quite. I thought he was playing quite nicely tonight. It looked like he got his head on. It looks like he was playing in a mature fashion. Giving the strike to Pooran, wonderful skill gets rid of him. So it feels a little bit sorry for Glenn Maxwell, but it's a continuous process where we keep talking about Glenn Maxwell. There's an opportunity. There's a chance for you to go and win a game for your team. And here's another opportunity that's gone begging for Glenn Maxwell in the Kings 11. It's probably a story that we'll be talking about for the remainder of the tournament because from here on in, I mean, Harsh, how many wins do you think they're going to need? They've got 8 games left. They're probably going to have to win, what,
7 out of 8.
8 to get through.
Yeah, I mean, last year was a freak year when a team qualified on net run rate with 12 points. But that doesn't happen. You normally need about 8, occasionally 7 can get you by. They're not getting those. But I wanted to pick your brains as a former captain. Did you come across talented players whom you needed to say, just forget the match, just go out and play? I get the feeling sometimes that the Maxwell's trying too hard almost to say, look, I've got this money. I'll justify this money. I don't know if that could be it or he's just trying too hard. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. He's such a gift. You know, I've seen him play for Yorkshire at my club. I've seen him play for Lancashire. I've seen him play in the Big Bash for the Melbourne Stars. I've seen him play for Australia. I've seen him play in 4-day cricket for Yorkshire and play brilliantly. He's got a gift to play the game. And the only thing that can stop him producing that talent more consistently is his mind. It's himself. Something's restricting him or stopping him or making him play silly shots at silly times in a game. Because I have seen him play some incredible innings. It just doesn't come up. Generally, that is the mind of what's happening. I call it the penthouse. The penthouse is not. It's not quite operating as it should. You know, the curtains just need to be shut, and you know, you've got to just hoover around a little bit more. So, put the furniture in the right place. The furniture in his penthouse, as we speak, is not quite right. I think he's got his bed in the lounge. I think he's got to maneuver that around and get the bed in the bedroom, just sort the kitchen out, and he'll be all right because there's too much going on in that penthouse at the minute.
Yeah, and it's showing. Today was the day that Glenn Maxwell could really put his hand up and be counted. I'll tell you what's interesting, though, is that Anil Kumble did say in an interview, a dugout interview, that they were wanting to put Chris Gayle into the game today, and we were just guessing it would come in place of Pooran. But now, what do you do? Well, the headaches just compound, don't they? Because now you can't drop Pooran after a 77 of 37, right? I mean, I don't know if he sent a plate of spicy food to Chris Gayle's room, he probably, if he did, it was good timing because now he's got 77-37. You can't drop him. You want to bring Gayle in. This batting order also needs lengthening. What do you do? It's not like, you know, Maxwell's not getting you runs. Do you just tell him, listen, buddy, why don't you just take a week off? Let's just give you a break for 2 games. But Harsha, can that happen? Can it happen that you've got a marquee player? You've paid your marquee player a lot of money. Now you're under pressure to play him. And we ask this every season about 1 or 2 players because this happens. But it doesn't matter. Once they're there, once they're wearing the team colors, they're all equal, right? You can drop one to make space for the other.
I mean, they picked Prabhsimran Singh last year, paid him 4.8 crores and played him in 1 game.
Yep.
So we do talk about how much money is sitting on the bench. But I think the bigger objective is to win a game. And if you find that your big money signing is just not quite there, maybe, and that happens to you, it happens to me, it happens to all of us, then maybe it's the return on investment, if that's what you're looking for, is probably best served by him not playing for a while. I mean, this is all conjecture, right? For all that you know, Maxwell might be fine, but it's all conjecture. But you can't leave out Pooran. And even in the earlier games, he was getting those 30s, 40s. Today he was the only guy playing. I mean, he benefited from Abdul Samad giving him sort of welcome to India kind of bowling.
Yeah.
But
a box of laddus. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. 28 of that over, and Pooran just sort of got going after that. But talking about Maxwell, that run out, I tell you that run out, 1 stump to aim at, Priyam Garg, 1 stump to aim at. But you know who was the happiest? It was not David Warner. It was not Priyam Garg himself. The happiest to that run out was Joy Bhattacharya, because he's been absolutely livid that no one's been hitting the stumps in this tournament. I think Joy, I could hear. Joy is about 1,500 kilometers away from me. I think I could hear him. I think I could hear him celebrating when Priyanka hit that one stump, because it really has been dismal in terms of everyone's missing the stumps. And today, Maxwell must be thinking, today is the day, young lad, that you think of hitting one. I mean, cut a guy some slack. Let's have a look at what the bowlers did. Let's have a look at the entire bowling analysis, how it's stacked up for Hyderabad. Of course, Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan looking very good, being made to look good as well a little bit. He got a little bit of help, but when you bowl 13 dot balls, that of course is all on you. It's very happy reading, Harsha, for your Hyderabad boys. Chai chand biscuit for everyone.
He has got... बिल्कुल मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, मैं देना ही पड़ता हूँ उन लोगों को, क्या कर लेते हैं. He's got 8 wickets at an economy rate of 5 in this IPL. And that's and if you look at that side, what would a good batting side have done? They was in the 17th over, they still had 1 or 2 overs to get from either Samad or Abhishek Sharma. So they, as it turned out, they didn't need those overs, but they just came apart. I mean, I was looking at that. Mujib has made 139 runs. I asked our producer while we were chatting to send me his record. 139 runs from 122 T20 games. And he was batting at 7.
So he's been getting a run a game, basically.
Do you know what? He was sent out there to deal with Rashid Khan. I've seen it in the Big Bash. The Brisbane used it on one occasion.
I mean, unless he was gonna physically tackle him, I don't know how he was gonna take care of him.
But that is my point. There's too many brains and there's too many chefs in the kitchen having their say and kind of, oh, that'd be a good idea to send them. It's just a simple game that's almost being overcomplicated a lot of the time. Yes, it's a different era of the game. There's lots of things that are different. There's lots of different shots, balls. The striking is incredible. These batsmen these days hit the ball so far and so cleanly. But the basics of the game haven't changed. I don't care what the format is. You don't send a Mujib to deal Rashid Khan. You just don't do that. You know, you give Jofra Archer the first ball to make sure that he goes at Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock. Just basics of the game that I'm looking at, particularly over the last 3 days. Look at Sunil Narine yesterday in the back. It goes in ahead of Owen Morgan. I mean, it just doesn't make sense in kind of the basics of what cricket has been forever. I just think teams are overcomplicated. It's generally the teams that are performing badly, they're almost overthinking it. Rather than going, right, let's just play the basics as well as we possibly can and see where that takes us. Rather than swapping and changing and batting lineup, bowling, changing fields, just do the basics as well as you possibly can and just see how far that takes you.
Yeah, but Harsha, I don't know if have you seen Ravi Bishnoi with the bat a lot in his junior days? I don't really count him. Yeah. So, I mean, your choice really at that point in time, and I mean, we didn't really talk too much about this in the pre-game, but the batting just falls off a cliff because you have a choice between Mujib and Ravi Bishnoi at 7, because after that you got Shami, Cottrell and Arshdeep, and none of them are number 7.
Might as well send Shami and tell him slog and come back.
Yeah, I mean, again, my point is that it's just too much. They don't have a number 7 here. Actually, they don't have what is a proper number 7.
Yeah, what you're trying to say is that it's just not a good team, is it? You know, if we're brutally honest, they've got some good individuals that on their day, they can surprise anyone. Puran could have done that this evening. But
that's not the right balance, yeah.
Yeah, from 1 to 11, as we speak, and you look at the better teams, the Delhis, the Mumbais, KKR, Kings 11, just from 1 to 11, you know, we sit there with a piece of paper, but you kind of just straight away, can they win? No, they can't win the tournament. You just screw it straight away. They just don't seem to have a set kind of formula mechanism that looks to me like they can really consistently put performances together with that group of players.
You see how they started. Yep. They had Karun Nair at 3, they had additional bats. They had Karun Nair in their first game, they had Chris Jordan in their first game, they had Krishnappa Gautam in their first game, and they had Murugan Ashwin in their first game, or first or second game. None of them are playing today. So they've played 6 games now, and they've gone so far away from where they started that suppose you're sitting there and saying, right, what is my best team? You know, what surprised me, Anil Kumble, as we know him, is very systems driven. So I'm just surprised. I don't know, as Michael said, if there's too many chefs in the kitchen, but I mean, Anil's been there, done that. He's been with the Mumbai Indians. He's been a magnificent captain for India. So that's what surprised me a little bit. So I don't know what's happening there.
Let's pull out the Punjab squad as well, and we'll have a look at it, because that's a very valid point that you just made. There are about 4 or 5 players there. I mean, Krishnappa Gautam got to bowl the last over against Mumbai. You send him in for the last over. He's obviously going to get, Pollard's going to pound him.
In that last over, when he came to bowl that last over, I should have asked the cameraman to be on Pollard and Hardik Pandya, because there would have been a scuffle on who's in strike. Because there's an off spinner and both of them just trying to hit the ball out of the ground. But if you look at that side, actually, it might be a good exercise for all of us to do. Pick the best 11 from this side, and you'll find it's not that bad.
Yeah.
If you pick the first 11 and stay with it.
Yeah, and I think, Harsha, you're right. I mean, teams like Royal Challengers, they seem to swap and change too quickly. After one loss, they hit for 3 players. They're just not willing to be consistent over a few games, just to give the players more. Even if they lose, just give them another game or two to get used to playing together. They've got Andy Flower in that coaching squad, who's a wonderful coach. Did wonders with England and has done well in the PSL. Did well in the Caribbean Premier League. I don't know how much of an input Andy's having, but as you say, when you look at the squad, it looks a half decent squad, but when you see the 11 like today, you look at it and go, you can't win with that 11.
Yeah, my prediction is there's a Deepak Hooda there who's hard hitting and gives you some overs. You might just see a Deepak Hooda coming in as well, because Punjab will also realize today that after number 6, don't really have too much with the bat. Not with this 11, you don't. So my prediction is you're going to see some more changes in the next game. Let's talk about Hyderabad. Of course, today got it right with their openers. They depend a lot on Vaughan and Bairstow. Vaughan and Bairstow gave it to them today. They really did. They gave them the 160-run opening partnership. It was just brute force, touch, finesse, excellence, genius, just all the adjectives that you can think of. And then, of course, winning it big. But let's talk about Johnny Bairstow for a second. Well, he didn't get his 100, but he is on our boost stamina meter because there was a lot of energy that he expended. And I'll tell you, there's a young Mr. Michael Vaughan here who's very happy to see Johnny Bairstow do what he did today.
Yeah, I mean, he's a class act. You actually look at white ball cricket over the last 5 years, you have to put him in the top bracket because of the consistent levels of which he's performed for England. Now in the IPL, in T20 cricket, 50-over cricket. He's a powerful player. I mean, you can see the way that he can strike a ball, but he's so busy. He's so difficult to keep quiet because he runs between the wickets so hard. He's fit. He makes those 1s into 2s, and he's got great boundary options across all the bowlers that he's facing. He probably doesn't get the credit and the recognition like many others do, because I don't know why it is. I honestly don't know. He just lost his central contract in the Test match team in England. He's out of that squad now. So, there's some reason why he doesn't seem to get the recognition. But in white ball cricket, as an opening batsman across the last 10 years, Johnny Bairstow is a match for anybody. If you look at his numbers and what he's delivered, he really is a match for any player that's played white ball cricket in the last 10 years.
And also, you make a good point. He, of course, had the boundary options when he was on strike, but he also ran very hard when he was a non-striker. So, he got half of his team's runs at the time that he was on the crease. He got when he was on the non-striker's end. So running a lot and getting the boundaries. So energy on both sides. Sorry, Harsha, you were saying?
If you look at what they did last year, they had, 4-century partnerships last year, I think.
Yeah.
Right? They've now got 5 in 16 innings. They're an awesome opening combination. They see how many 2s they ran last year. The moment they see a big ground, Vaughan is quick between wickets, Bairstow is quick between wickets. They run a lot of 2s.
Yep.
And I remember there was this one game against RCB. They ran the fielders ragged. They ran 15, 20 2s or something like that. They were just running 2s all the time.
In Hyderabad, because you're not running 2s at the Chinnaswamy. So it's got to be at Hyderabad.
No. 2s outlawed. There's many grounds. Kotla, Firozshah Kotla, Chinnaswamy. 2s are outlawed and 3s are extinct.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, in Firozshah Kotla, you're probably running from, crumbling structures, lawsuits, DDCA members, people asking for free tickets. There's a lot of stuff you're running from at the Kotla.
Some days the 30-yard circle is getting strangled by the boundary rope.
Yeah, it's right. Just pushing it. It's just pushing it. Come on, buddy. Move ahead a little bit. It's the pitch now. Okay, let's have a look at the points table and see how it's looking for who it's not looking. I'll tell you. So this is. Harsha was criticizing my choice of saying, am I supporting Punjab or Hyderabad? No, what I wanted today was, if they had won, we would have had 3 teams at 4 points. No, we would have had 4 teams right? Because Hyderabad would have been there.
Yeah,
So we were at 4 teams at 4 points, right? And that's what I wanted, because you don't want them to be left behind. But I'm afraid now Punjab is looking like they're just going to be left behind, not just on the points table, but from what Michael Vaughan just pointed, it seems to be confused. The choices that they're making, the 11 that they're fielding, the people who are out of the squad, the people who've got a chance and have been dropped, it's just looking like they may just not be at the party for much longer. But let's have a look at the top, because suddenly we've got a new contender in the shape of Hyderabad, who's now got 6 points out of 6 games, which is just 1 win less than Mumbai. And Mumbai and Delhi have been looking kind of invincible. And now you're looking at that as a Hyderabad supporter, as a Hyderabad player or manager, and you're going, wait, hang on a second. People are criticizing us for not getting our act right, but we're not doing that bad.
No, we're not doing that bad at all.
Yeah.
And Bangalore and Kolkata are thinking, oops, they didn't want that result, because they would then have stayed in the top 4. So the second half is going to be good fun. And for the second half to be good fun, you're right, you needed Punjab to be in the reckoning as well. The more teams that are in the reckoning, the better the second half becomes. You don't want a situation now where the Royals just drop out. They've got 1 more game before Ben Stokes comes, I think. So the Royals shouldn't be dropping out, and the Kings start to drop out. Then the second half doesn't become that exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like what Liverpool did in the Premier League last season, right? You don't want that to be happening again, right, Michael Vaughan?
7-2. 7-2. No, what is that? No, 7-1.
Stop it.
I lost my connection. What was that?
I'm sure you did. And it's okay. I'll let you, Harsha's, Michael, Simon, Joy, everyone, Pommy, everyone's had their go at me about the 7-2 loss to Villa. Harsha, you hadn't. Please go ahead.
No, but how does the team lose 7? It's like Mumbai Indians turning up against Gaurav Kapur's Nibbana 11 or whatever it is, and losing by 10 wickets. I mean, how do you concede 7? I mean, you could as well look at Manchester United and say, how do you concede 5? You're much better off being Arsenal with that fantastic new midfielder coming in.
They gave 6 away, actually, United.
Yeah,
we were looking at that match.
Manchester United were just staying in with social distance rules. You're only allowed 6. And they were keeping it with that kind of perimeter at the minute. You're allowed to give 6.
Manchester United would have done much better if they played a second set, right? They just lost the first set. They would have done better in the second set. Well, let's see who's done well today on our My 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the Day. These are the 11 that you should have had. Well, Johnny Bairstow and Nicholas Puran, if you had them in your team as captain and vice captain, they would have given you a lot of points. How many of them did you have in your team? Check your teams. Let us know. Meanwhile, our My 11 Circle champion of the day. Who it is? Show to me. There you go. Thank you. Suraj Rathod. Wait, Suraj. No, wait. Suraj means sun. Sun doesn't come out at night. That's why the team was taking so long. Suraj Rathod, congratulations. 354 points. You're our My 11 Circle champion of the day. All right, well, that wraps up today's game. Let's talk about the game happening on Friday evening. Yes, Friday Fury. Who is it going to be? It's Rajasthan playing Delhi at Sharjah. He's raining 6s. Wow, Harsha, I'll tell you one team that's going to be happy going there is Rajasthan. They're just like, wait, we left Sharjah and we left all our bags of form. Just like Maxwell left them at the airport, they left them in Sharjah.
So on the way to the ground, just outside the ground in Sharjah, all those hardware shops, I think Rajasthan will stop at that hardware shop and say, give us all those cricket balls back that you picked up for all the 6s that we hit there. But I mean, nothing like going back to Sharjah and rediscovering their form, because I mean, those first 2 games, they took the tournament by storm. And thereafter, they're just losing their top 3 way too quickly, trying to play the same shots. I mean, look, they're better players than that. We can sit here and say, you know what, maybe they carried the hangover. They know that too. They're better players than that. So there's got to be another reason too. What has surprised me is Steve Smith.
Seems to be in a hurry. Can we just check his pocket for bus tickets? Like, what's going on? Is he missing his bus? Like, why is he in such a hurry?
Well, I think he has to go back to the way that he played in the first 2 games. There was a lot more control. The last 2 games, he's gone out there looking like he's having to hit a boundary at every single ball. He's a better player than that. I mean, with the way that he plays and with the structure of their side, you would want Steve Smith to bat the majority of the innings. just get it to 60 or 70. Even if it comes off 55 balls, it's not an issue. You don't have to be striking it at 160, 170. We'll take Steve Smith scoring his runs at around 120, 130. And then it allows the firecrackers to come out and play. I mean, Butler found form in the last game. They did some funny things tactically. I'm not too sure that they were that smart tactically. Suryakumar Kumar kept on flicking it over fire leg. Fire leg kept on staying in the circle. What was it, Gaurav? He had 3 runs in the V, but they always
one run in the V.
One run in the V. Yeah, they didn't try and make him hit down the ground once. So tactically, they weren't at their best. I do worry for the Rajasthan Royals. If they lose tomorrow, I just think it's going to be a big gap. It's going to be Kings and Rajasthan looking above them with so many points to try and make up. They need a team performance. We saw Puran tonight plays an incredible individual. I don't think that's going to be enough to beat Delhi. Delhi look the team. They look like they've got pretty much everything covered. Players in form, great combinations. 2 South African quits that are setting the tone. All their batters look like they've kind of got their mojo. Whereas Rajasthan, I think after the last game, we said 3 of their players really had half-decent games and the 8 were off form. You're not going to compete against Delhi unless you arrive with 8 playing in form.
But the thing is that while Rajasthan is excited about going to Sharjah, don't forget what Delhi has done at Sharjah. Yes, Harsha, they've had a good game there as well. And they've scored a lot of runs.
Since we've got that Rajasthan squad, what surprised me the other
day... Up again, minions. Bring it back again. It's coming. There it is.
Steve Smith was playing like Butler and Butler was playing like Steve Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, Smith was playing all the shots and Butler was playing himself in. Butler is one of the most feared batsmen at the top of the order playing that kind of role. So that's what surprised me a little bit. But Delhi, there's not one player that's standing out. And yet, Prithvi Shaw scoring 60 in 40 balls. Shreyas Iyer has got an 88 in 38 balls. Rishabh Pant is playing himself in. Stoinis is playing that role to perfection. This IPL, we're discovering that you need that number 5 or 6 to allow 1, 2, 3, 4 to play with freedom. So Stoinis is doing that. They've got the most economical spinner in the tournament in Akshar Patel. I mean, I don't know on that small ground how he'll go, but he's after what, 14, 15 overs. He's going at 4.5 and over.
Yeah.
That's the Joel Garner playing 50 overs era, when they used to go at 3 and over.
He's as tall as Joel Garner, though, isn't he? He's almost as tall as him. Phenomenally tall for a spinner is Akshar Patel. I still feel Delhi has one problem. Well, Akshar's bowling fantastically. Akshar can whack the ball. I don't know if he's that kind of big hitter that a lot of teams have at 7. I don't know he's that big a hitter. Neither can Ashwin Cup. So I feel like if you had to really nitpick and say, okay, there's maybe one thing for them, it's perhaps that, or maybe Harshal Patel comes at 7. I mean, they've got a few. Yes, it's not.
No, they got Hetmeyer. They got Shimron Hetmeyer.
Yeah, but Hetmeyer, that's 6, 5 or 6.
Yeah, Hetmeyer at 6. But what that does is, if their top order is Prithvi Shaw, Rishabh Pant, so Stoinis becomes the additional bowler. So that's where the balance comes in.
Yeah.
And Harshal Patel this year has opened the batting for Haryana and gone and scored some crazy runs.
So he's your 7 actually.
Up there. So he can do that too. Ashwin can do that. Akshar can tonk the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but their top 6 is so good that they won't leave too much for
actually, I just like the depth in the squad, the players that are on the bench. Jinky Rahane could step in and do a good job at the top. Ishant Sharma, Alex Carey, Daniel Sams. They've got a real strong bench. So, if they win another couple and they feel they're almost set into the playoffs, it may be that they do give 1 or 2 others a chance to just get into some kind of game time in case an injury pops in when the playoffs are around the corner. I mean, Ricky Ponting, Harsha, we know him very well. He's such a good operator. And you can see they're just getting better and better. The more that Ricky's around them, the more that he's operating his mindset onto the players. No surprise for me that they're having a good tournament this year with him having another year with them. Similar kind of squad. He's had a few changes, but the core is still there from last year. One more year with Ricky Ponting was always going to be a big play for me.
Are teams not changing players because they are winning, or are they winning because they're not changing players? So you see the 2 most stable teams are at the top.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think T20 is the one format that teams go chasing too early in terms of trying to find the right format, rather than just accepting that it's T20 cricket and you can have a bad night. You can have an off night that it doesn't go right. It doesn't mean that you play 2 days later and you swap 3 or 4, because what that brings is that looking over your shoulder mentality. Is it going to be me the next game? If we fail again, is it going to be me that's going to be left out? T20 cricket, you have to build a confidence in that dressing room. And it's not a confidence that a group of players know that they're playing every game. There's always got to be a little bit of doubt in a gremlin in the top corner of your mind that you might get dropped. So I think that keeps you honest and open. But I think it's so important that you feel you're going to get a run of games to get used to your role. People around you know your role, and you can kind of combine with the personnel in the team. So far in this year's tournament, the teams that have swapped and changed and tried to go searching for the formula, it hasn't worked.
Yeah, because like you're saying, Harsha, Mumbai has made only the one change in the 6 games that they've played so far, which is Saurabh Tiwari got injured and Ishan Kishan came in, hit the ground running, of course. And with Delhi also, if you see Shimron Hetmeyer has not really done what Shimron Hetmeyer is capable of doing, but they still have him there. They've got him. They're like, we have faith in you. We're going to keep you.
And the only exception is Chennai Super Kings,
who
don't change their sides when they're not doing too well. And it requires a Sehwag to. I saw Sehwag on Cricbuzz Hindi, and he said, "Sarkari naukri, I want to drop nahi hota koi." It's like a government job. You just play throughout the tournament. If you're in Chennai Super King, like a government job, he said, only Sehwag can say that.
Yeah.
But actually,
they need to move some files now. They need to move some files real quick. I tell you, those employees, they better do, because otherwise, his major speed. I mean, we all believe that 2020 has been a crazy year. But I truly, truly believe it's underlined and it's bold. If Chennai doesn't make the playoffs, right, then you know that this year is beyond redemption. It cannot do a Rahul Tewatia if Chennai does not make it to the playoffs.
I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I think so too.
I do. I think that a few games ago I said this could be the year. The Dad's Army finally, because of the heat. The lack of game time coming into the tournament. Generally, most of the players have been playing in other tournaments, so they're kind of used to playing. I just feel this year might be the year that Chennai look at their squad and think, you know what, for the next IPL starting in April time, we might have to just rejig that team just a little bit. The great players and great people in that setup with Stephen Fleming, MS, Faf du Plessis, Shane Watson, Jadeja, wonderful players. But I just see them and think, wait a minute, when you're manoeuvring around the outfield and running, I just see that they're not looking old, but they're just looking like an unathletic team.
Yeah,
rusty.
Michael,
the word is rusty.
Rusty. You're right. I agree entirely.
Yates.
With most teams, you pick your best players and put them outside as boundary riders. With Chennai, they decide who's in, and whoever's left is on the boundary.
Well, listen, they've got 2 of the best boundary riders in the business with Ravindra Jadeja and Faf du Plessis.
Brilliant.
Right? But you need...
How was that catch that day between the 2 of them?
That was a great collaboration. Absolutely loved it. It was almost like on an icy lake. It was like, whoa, there I go. Here's the fish. Catch it. Well, let's have a look at who caught the fish today. Well, it is Michael Vaughan. Yes, he has our My 11 Circle badge of honor. He's our expert of the day. Yes, he is, because the power play got 45. Mr. Bhogle, your guess was, what was it? 53,
wasn't it?
53. He was at 49 with a 5-run give, 45, which means it's in his sweet spot. So he is our My 11 Circle expert of the day, wins our badge of honor. Well played, Mr. Vaughan. Well played. Well played indeed. I want to say well played to one more person. That person is the winner of our Joy Factor question. But first, we will show you the question. And Mr. Bhogle, if you could just read this out, please.
Okay.
Because it's an essay.
But you know what? I saw that on Twitter, and the answers came very quickly. 19th over of an epic game of the tournament. Bowler to Manish Pandey, single to sweeper. Bowler to Angelo Matthews, caught by Dale Steyn in the deep. Bowler to Manish Pandey, single to long on. By which time 6 answers have already come. What happens next?
This is what happened next. Amit Mishra takes a hat trick. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Rohit Sharma, Ashok Dinda are the victims. 4 wickets and a single over. Pune versus Hyderabad 2013. 4 wickets and over. That's a big one. That's a big one. 4.
No, it's good. Joy's he's having a good IPL. Some good questions.
Just long questions.
Over my head, but they're great questions.
I mean, his questions are longer than some of Glenn Maxwell's innings, so we just.
You're a hard man. You're a hard man. He's not coming on Breakfast with Champions.
Here's the thing. After all that Michael Vaughan has done and Simon Dool have done, they're going no show to the big show. This is the line that you're putting your hand up to. Oh, well, Punjab, come on, get something done. I think I'm just saying it because we're just such fans of Anil Kumble. How can you not be a fan of Anil Kumble? How can you not be a fan of KL Rahul's batting? And you just feel that this team with their, flavor of the month captain and coaches just happen to stick with this one and don't do what they've done with all their other captains and coaches, just get rid of them after a season. So we really hope that they just sort of stick with them. Is it going to happen? Well, we don't know. We just want all the teams to be in the mix and have a very exciting second half of the tournament. Just as the tournament has started out, how the first week we were so excited, you can't call it. Well, unfortunately, at the halfway stage, or almost at the halfway stage, we are beginning to call some things really. Well, that's all we have time for. Do we have? Oh, the winner. Who's the winner? Who gave us the right answer in all of that? Mahesh Reddy. Congratulations, Mahesh. 1988, 1990. Who's that? You born twice, mate. What's going on? Who said that?
Maybe he passed his 10th standard in 88 and 12th standard in 1990.
Or maybe he passed, or maybe he appeared for his 10th standard in 88 and then again in 90. Could be any of it. I don't even know, man. Maybe that's just your phone number. It's your GST number. We don't know. But congratulations, Mahesh Reddy. You are the winner of our Joy Factor for today. So congratulations to you. Well, that's all we have time for. We're going to see you at 7 p.m. IST on Friday. Who's going to be here with me tomorrow? Who's here tomorrow? Gentlemen. Oh, I've got Pommy and Polly. No, I've got Pommy and Polly tomorrow. Pommy and Polly. Big thank you to Harsha Bhogle. Thank you so much. Big thank you to Michael Vaughan. Big thank you to all of you. Big thank you to Simon Dool as well, who was here with us for a little while, and then we seem to have lost him. I don't know.
Are we sure he's still alive? Is he okay, Simon?
Last we heard, he was going to Pommy's room to get some equipment because his had failed. And we haven't heard from him. So I don't know how we've lost somebody who's about 8 feet tall, but we seem to have lost him.
I'm more worried about Pommy coming back and discovering that Simon's occupied his room. He doesn't have a room.
He's cleaning out his minibar.
Yeah, and I hope that Pommy is surprised when he sees Simon in his room at midnight, because if he's not surprised, then I've got more to worry about. So it'll all play out tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll let you know how it does tonight. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Thank you so much for watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.